Brother Adnan, do you want to quickly address the hadith? Because the viewers, he asked a question about the hadith of calling another person kafir. Do you want to quickly address that?
Okay, that hadith is talking about a person who is being accused of kufr unjustly. So the Prophet ﷺ, what did he say? The hadith actually goes against these people. If you read the hadith carefully, the Prophet said that when you call a Muslim a kafir, one of you is a disbeliever. One of you is a disbeliever. What does that actually mean? Either that person you called a kafir is truly a kafir, and you're justified to call him a kafir, or you have called him a kafir unjustly. In that case, it returns back on you. Okay, that's what the Prophet is saying. The Prophet is not saying that you cannot call a claimant to Islam a disbeliever. No, the concept of takfir, okay, or the principles of takfir have been described by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. We have the example of, for example, the Sahaba who fought the Murtadeen. They fought the apostates after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, he said anyone who rejects zakat, okay, is like the same person who rejects salah. Someone who rejects zakat is like the one who rejects salah. So if you reject one of the pillars of Islam, you're not a Muslim anymore. So the hadith actually goes against them. It doesn't endorse they keep abusing this hadith again and again, again and again. They keep beating the drums with this. And then when it comes down to them, they say the Jamba group, the Lahori group, the Such Plus group, they're all disbelievers. So what happens to you hadith then? These people are not only believers in Allah and His Messenger, they also believe in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, and you call them disbelievers. You're calling them disbelievers. So come on, guys, we have the spine, have the integrity, the credibility to be honest. Say, yes, these are our beliefs. Yeah, we don't like to put them out in public because we know our narrative is otherwise, but these are our beliefs. Because when you're cornered, you actually you end up spilling out these beans. So that's the response to the hadith.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Brother Adnan. That was a very detailed, wonderful explanation. And like I said before to the viewers, if you want to know all the beliefs, the summary of all the beliefs in one hadith, you can read hadith in Sahih Muslim, hadith number 8, which you presented earlier, which has basically, it's called the hadith of Jibril. You can go and have a look at that. Inshallah, you will have detail, and you reject any of these beliefs, you're a kafir. So you reject the prophets, you're a kafir. Reject the angels, you're a kafir. You reject zakah, you say basically anything that the Quran orders, ordains, or the hadith, authentically reported hadith is reported there, and you reject. You say something is haram, and you say no, it is halal, or something it is halal, and you say it is haram against these verses of the Quran and the hadith. Then you're a kafir because you're going against the word of Allah. So I don't know if you have anybody else who would like to join. We have some. Yes, Ahmad.
Sorry, I just wanted to make a point before we take the other person. One of the things that occurred to me is, why do modern day Khalifas regard and pretend that we are Muslims? And I suppose one of the reasons could be that they want to establish themselves in the West as part of the Ummah, but another sect. And so it's like trying to get in through the back door. And at first, I thought that, well, do they really believe us to be Muslims? But not in practice, because as I said, they don't read the namaz behind us. They don't read our namaz-e-janaza. They won't let our boys marry their girls, for example. So I wonder if the reason why they are backtracking on that and pretending as if they think that we are all also Muslims is so that they can be accepted by the West, non-Muslim powers, that these people, the poor Ahmadis, are actually part of the Muslims because they regard the other people as a Muslim as well. So it could be quite a devious way of trying to make a pretense of a belief that they really don't believe in.
Jazakallah khair. Ahmad, would you like to add anything? I saw you come on.
Yes, inshallah. So the only thing I would basically add to Izarbai's talk, and maybe Bashir can expand on this. So when they had the upper hand, they were very open about it, and they were openly saying that we are not Muslims. And in the Twitter in the morning, I saw a tweet by somebody, Qadiani, who was tweeting that from their first caliph, that who does not believe in Khatmun Nabiyyin, Khatmun Nubuwah, is basically a kafir and deviant. And they said that we agree with this principle with the Muslims, but we have a different definition of Khatim. So quite naturally, there's so many examples where they do accept that there are things that if you don't do, you're not a Muslim, and that is from their early generations. But I think so as they expanded and they lost the power, or they did not have the cover for them to flourish. They actually changed their stance, and maybe for this, the best bet for them to survive now is to become a sect of Muslims and try to come across as Muslim in the West. And they're trying to basically, using this formula, they're trying to become the representatives of Islam in the West, unfortunately. Maybe Bashir can expand on this.
No, and Brother Nan said the same thing. You know, that's a strategy. You know, again, it was after World War One when everything changed. He published Anna Sadakat in 1921. Mirza Ali didn't know the year. Now, why do I know all the years? I don't know, because I attach numbers with facts or something. You know, I know all the numbers of the relevant verses that we all quote too. Anyhow, if someone doesn't know the year a book was published, that's key. That's very key. So in Anna Sadakat, he used the phrase "Gad Amdi Musulman." That was the first time he ever used that phrase, "Gad Amdi Musulman." Like, what is that? You know, so that's when the change happened. You know, I showed a Brother Umar the reference from 1923 that was quoted in an academic book by Johann Friedman called Prophecy Continuous. He quoted it, and he even agreed and said the Qadianis did do Kafir, but then they fell back. So, you know, even now they change every time there's a new Khalifa. There's about to be a new Khalifa in the next few years because Masroor is, you know, he's almost finished. But so when the new Khalifa comes, they're gonna change again. So let's see how they continue to change, brother. And that's all I got. I did have one thing. So that guy, I forgot his name. The guy from France. He said humans aren't supposed to strive to define who a Muslim is. Well, in terms of taxes, if you're a Muslim, you pay zakat. If you're not, you pay jizya. So at some point, a Muslim government will have to come to head and say what taxes this person going to pay. So it's up to them to decide to define it or not. For example, the Mughal Empire didn't really define it. But anyhow, that's all I got. Brother Umar, over to you.
That's a beautiful, wonderful point that you brought, Brother Bashir. That yes, in order to take zakat, you have to know who is a Muslim. And actually, the Quran told us, like we presented verses earlier. I don't know what time this guy joined, but we did present evidences earlier of who is a kafir, and according to the Quran, like the person who rejects any of the prophets is a true disbeliever. Humul kafiruna haqqa. We presented this ayah from the Quran. I don't know why he is refusing to say that. That is Allah Himself. The Quran is the word of Allah. So when it is Allah who is judged who is a kafir, when He said that whoever rejects the prophet is a kafir. Or you
Umar, I just want to make a small point, if you allow me.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, inshallah. The point that Brother Bashir actually mentioned, it does not stop on just jizya and zakah. So because there's a discussion, like they try to initiate this discussion that why call them non-Muslims? Why do Muslims actually go that take that step and actually do call them non-Muslims, and why is this discussion even important? Like you said, it has a very practical implication in Islam. So the kind of rights of a non-Muslim on a Muslim, we want to give them those rights, right? The rights of a Muslim on a Muslim. So the rights and the responsibilities are very defined in Sharia, and for that it is really important to know who you're dealing with. So subhanallah, it's not a trivial matter. It is something that is supposed to be done as ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. So subhanallah, I just wanted to expand on that a little bit.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Ahmad. Dr. Izhar, come in, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for all the time you gave me, and I hope it's been productive. I will just finish on one last point that needs to be brought to the attention of the Ahmadis as well. Ahmadis are quite opportunistic, and as we have seen before, they change their tune when it suits them. And one glaring example of that was that when the British were doing a census of who is a Muslim and who is a Hindu when the partition was about to happen, Mirza Bashiruddin gave strict instructions and requested that Ahmadis should not be counted along with the Muslims. So they themselves detached themselves from Islam. And they said that we are just like the Parsis and the Sikhs and the Hindus. We should be counted separately. And that may be one of the reasons why East Punjab was large tracts of East Punjab fell in India. I don't know about the details, but that's one example of how, when it suits them, they call them. They will separate themselves from us Muslims, and they say, well, we don't even count us as a Muslim. So, what more evidence do we need about the opportunism and the conflicting beliefs of Ahmadis? And lastly, only recently, in a census in Britain, they also had this instruction that count yourself as some other religion, not don't count yourself as a Muslim. So, may Allah give them hidayat. And thank you, brothers.